I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers? Benny here with another after show of The Walking Dead, and we have so much to talk about. And before we get into it, I have to introduce you to my amazing co-host. First, let's start off with Miss April.
Hey everybody, so happy to be here with y'all, still in quarantine, but still here.
And then Mr. Cedric.
What's up, guys? Still here, happy to be back, still healthy. Hopefully you guys are healthy too. Everybody keep washing your hands so we can get back to normal.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about today, including some really crazy news and gossip for you guys, as well as our special segments. But before we get into any of that, I have to know, what did you guys think about this episode?
So much going on. It was like kind of like season 3, The Walking Dead, like multiple different, very, very separate storylines. So I'm going to say, you know, I haven't been giving her a lot of love recently, but I didn't love the Carol segments this time. Curious to see what y'all thought about that. But overall, I thought it was a really good episode. I definitely really enjoyed the Negan Darryl interactions. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Ditto on that. We don't see those two on camera enough anymore. And I love the moments that they shared as at opposition and in tandem with together. I love seeing the tiebacks to what really happened when Carol finally released the Negan, if you would. And then seeing Carol kind of go through all these emotions of not being satisfied, I think tells a deeper story.
Yeah, that was definitely crazy. I loved this episode. I thought it was really good. I thought it was well written. So yeah, I have to give kudos to all the writers and all the people involved. I first want to talk about Negan's storyline. You know, I'm actually rooting for the guy like no other. I know he has a past. He did some awful things to some of our favorite heroes. What did you think about just how Negan is trying to prove himself to Darryl? Darryl doesn't believe Negan whatsoever, and Negan's trying to tell him, you know, hey, this is what happened. I need you to believe me.
You know, this is the toughest question for me because I always, as y'all know, go back between, you know, it's like you can't forget the past. We can't forget what he's done, but also look at what he's done now. Look at, you know, he's taken away this probably, you know, arguably one of the most major threats we've ever seen. Also, the sheer fact that these, you know, the moment in the woods where they see these random whisperers, or it was at the line where Alpha's head was on a spike or whatever, and the whisperers now worship him. And what does he do? He turns the gun around and he basically proves it to Darryl, like, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say it, but I gotta say it. He is like this close to redemption for me.
They're making him very likable. They really are. Cedric, what did you think?
I love Negan, man, and I'm happy that he's on this rehabilitation story, and I'm hoping that the relationship between him and Darryl, if that one comes to fruition, that's going to be beautiful. Because I'm sorry to say, I think I'm completely off the Carol bandwagon now. I'm sick of it. I didn't like how she did him. I didn't like how she didn't hold up her end of the bargain. When you would think that after she wanted that so much, it would make her happy that it was done, but she complained about the time and did all that. I like how when he interacted with Darryl, he almost was a little bit submissive, not jumping here at odds with Darryl and saying like, hey, no, you're wrong, but almost being submissive, like, hey, let me pull this out of my pocket. But what I love the most is that in that brief split second, we got the old Negan for a second. He turned on the stick. We got to hear some of his old gospel that he used to spit when he was leader of the Saviors, but still the good guy and still wanting to do things right. Bailed out one of our favorite heroes. So it shows that he really has a heart. And if the shoe was on the other foot, man, we always talk about, well, what if we follow Negan's story first? Was he really doing the right thing in the beginning? But here we are.
Right.
Yeah, very true. And Cedric, you mentioned Carol earlier. I want to know from you guys, does Negan have a right to be pissed at Carol for going back on her plan? Because we see in the flashback that Carol said you need to be quick about it. And in this episode, for a second time, Carol says, "What took you so long?" And we get more of an in-depth meaning of what she meant. You know, all of these terrible things happen that she didn't want to happen because she didn't think Negan would take so long to kill Alpha. So do you think Carol, or do you think Negan has a right to be upset with Carol for going back on her word?
You know, those are two different questions. And I say that only because I don't think Negan has a right necessarily, because he has to understand, but more than that, Carol does not have a right to be mad. What was he supposed to do? He couldn't just go in and kill her. That was never going to happen. He had to infiltrate. He had to get close to her. He had to make her trust him. That was going to take time. I understand where she's coming from in the sense of a lot has happened. The whole Hilltop is no longer a thing because, you know, it took longer than they expected. A lot of people died in this time. She, you know, let's say basically sacrificed Connie. She didn't, but y'all know what I mean. Because of this. But no, he already went out of his way. He did not have to do that. He could have very easily ran away and never come back. He did a major, major favor for her. Just like he said, he did her dirty work. So more than anything, I don't think Carol has a right to be mad. She had to do what she had to do in the interim, and she knew Carol is an educated and very intelligent person. She knew it was going to take time for him to infiltrate and actually be able to execute the plan.
Ooh,
Right.
Carol's intelligent. I'm going to err on the contrarian on that because she hasn't been moving intelligent at all. So Negan has every right to be upset Carol hasn't held her end of the bargain, because Carol could have did it herself, and she's tried and failed many times. And the first thing Negan said was, "Hey, I heard that you dropped the ball. What happens if I drop the ball?" So he could have easily declined and stayed in jail that whole time, because he's been in jail for 7 years. But maybe he just wanted the outdoors. But yeah, it takes time to infiltrate and go through the plan. And for a man that's been in jail and captivity and building all these relationships with people like Lydia, Judith, stuff like that, of course he's rehabilitated over time to being behind bars. So
Yeah.
he had the best foot forward in that. But of course it would take time, because if he didn't build the trust, he could have easily died trying. Just like Carol almost killed 7 of our favorite characters just by chasing Alpha into a cave. So Carol literally has no right to talk about the speed of things, because her plans have failed every time she's tried to kill Alpha. The least you can do is take him back to the community and be like, "Hey, this our guy."
Right, exactly. And bouncing off of what you said, Cedric, Negan could have easily just did his own thing after Carol released him. You know, he could have just went off, started a whole new chapter in his life, but yet he kept his word and he did what he had to do. It took a little bit longer than expected, but he did what no one else was able to do, which was to kill Alpha. And now there's a new Alpha, which is Negan. Were you guys surprised that it wasn't Beta and it was Negan instead?
Well, I'm about to drop a major bomb on y'all. I don't think it's a spoiler alert, but let me say spoiler alert just in case. Michelle Lathan, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, in chat just says it took 3 days. 3 days, 1, 2, 3, according to JDM, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, on The Talking Dead. Not that long. Carol, you are impatient, honey.
Wow.
It took 3 days.
Wow, Carol.
72 hours.
Right. In the Walking Dead universe. Like, that is
Carol.
nothing. That's nothing. No, ridiculous. Sorry, I know that's not what you asked, but I had to tell y'all that because I knew y'all.
No, I'm glad you said that. That puts things into a whole new perspective.
Definitely. But Carol, I mean, overall, I'm surprised that they just had this mentality of, "Oh, you kill Alpha, you are the Alpha again." If they've ever addressed this, that's something that I forgot. I kind of did assume that it would be Beta because Beta was her second in command. Also, Beta kind of ran away. So how does anyone at this point know that Negan is the one that killed her? I mean, he had a
Mhm.
conversation with a couple of people, but I guess they missed to relate the message. But yes, to answer your question, I was definitely surprised that it was automatically Negan.
That scene was kind of weird to me because I just assumed that those three whisperers maybe just were on the hunt looking for Alpha because she was missing. So maybe
Mhm.
they didn't know that she was dead yet. So they were like, oh, Negan was the last person with her. And they just assumed, okay, well, you're in charge right now. I don't know if they got the word from Beta because I feel like if Beta would have heard them say that, the same thing would have happened to the other gentleman who got his face bit off
Yeah.
um, in the episode. But um, yeah, I thought it was a little bit overwhelming. Not that way overwhelming that they bowed to him so soon and not Beta, since Beta's been pretty much second in command uh, for as long as the Whisperers have been a faction.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, were you about to say something?
Oh no. I was
Oh,
agreeing
okay.
saying like yeah, but Beta. I would have assumed that it would be him. You know, maybe we're thinking too democratic wise, where it's like a vice president is it if the president is out. But no, I definitely because of the longevity, I would have thought that. And like I said, I don't remember them ever establishing like a you die or I kill you, therefore I am the power now.
And speaking of Beta, Beta is crazy. He is a complete loony type of guy. You know, this is the first time where we see him kind of embrace who he was in the past. You know, he's listening to his old records, and it was so interesting to me because he's in this place. Well, first question is, was that his own place? Because it seemed like that was his own. Okay, I was right. Okay,
It's
so
been confirmed at this point.
Right. So he's in his own place. He's listening to his music, and the music is gathering, you know, all these hordes of walkers. And it was almost as if he was on stage performing to a group of people, but instead of a group of people, he's performing to a group of walkers. And with any type of artist or celebrity, you know, these people who come to listen to these artists worship them like no other, and they praise them and they love them for their music. And I kind of feel that not Negan, Beta feels that way. He thinks that these, and am I just crazy?
Well, who knows? No, I'm kidding. But I think that he thinks of it like he's going through something. It's like for as you know, mentally unstable as we thought Beta was, like this is the thing to fully put him over the edge. And also, should we be calling him Half Moon now because that was his stage name, Half Moon? But no, it definitely seemed like that. It seemed like he just didn't care, and care that these were like walkers surrounding him. So I don't know if it's him just like thinking that they're his followers or him just going there because he needed some sort of like solace and he knew that he could go. I don't even try to pretend like I can understand what was going through his head at that time.
Cedric, what about you?
Vinny, I like where you're dreaming. You know, the sound was a little bit different, but the album was playing, so he was happy. But I think so. For Beta,
Normal place, like
yes, that's what I
Yeah, I thought that's what I figured. I thought it was her face.
We can assume that it was. I read multiple things today because I was like, surely he didn't do that. But and everything kept saying that it was the half moon shape. So now he's gonna go like become the half moon character again. But like it was the exact color. I'm pretty sure he carved up her face and put it on his.
Yeah.
it looked very Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
He wants to remember her forever and ever.
Exactly.
Before we go any further, we have a special announcement that we want to tell you guys. April.
Which special announcement are we doing?
How we love being a part of AfterBuzz.
Yes.
And
we have a lot for y'all today, so forgive my mind right there. But no, we just want to thank y'all so much for staying tuned with us and for being this community of viewers and fans right along with us because we so appreciate y'all. You make us the ESPN of TV talk, and you make us love doing AfterBuzz and coming here together, even though we're in quarantine and all probably about to go a little crazy, and being able to talk about this show. It gives us some solace. So we just really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, however you're doing, give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, all that stuff. And we just really enjoy being with y'all every week. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get back to Carol a little bit. Do you guys think Carol is fully not happy, but content with everything now? You know, Alpha is finally dead. The deed is done. Do you think this set her back on the right path, or do you think she's still going to be hurting even more?
She's still going to be hurting. She's doing the thing. And this is why I don't know if I got like slightly annoyed watching the episode, because this is what she has done every time. How many times have we seen Carol do something that was going to be detrimental to the group and then run away? Like, we've seen this story before. She doesn't, she makes these moves. She doesn't think that her people are going to back her or be with her or, forgive her after. So she runs away and most of the time ends up in way more trouble and causing more trouble than she did at first. She doesn't even look like she's happy. And I think the reason why she's seeing Alpha in all of these visions is because it's not the thing that's actually going to end up making her heal or feel better. I'm sure it made her feel pretty dang good, but I think that's why she's still seeing her, because of the turmoil that happened because of the decisions that she made.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I'm kind of sick of Carol, man. I'm just completely over it. I was actually looking forward to that moment where she possibly would look at the flowers and that would just be it, because she's been such a detriment to the rest of the group. And I think the scene where she gets back to the community and just walks past Darryl is very telling of where her head is at, because Darryl is like her ace. And if she can't connect with Darryl, then she's really too far gone. It reminds me of when they were back in the prison seasons ago and Rick was gone for a long time seeing Ghost Lori. And it's like you couldn't snap him out of it. Everybody else had to take charge of your group and lead. So if Carol's in that mindset, and Carol's probably one of the most dangerous characters on the show when her head is on right, I mean, how many more people can we lose because of Carol's mishaps and just because she's not on her game? I think she probably needs to separate herself from the rest of the characters for a while.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That seeing Alpha was definitely, in my opinion, her guilt of everything that has happened because of her. She thought that everything would be over once Alpha was dead, and she was completely wrong. And Cedric, you mentioned the look at the flowers. I love that part, because wasn't that also, I feel like that was a throwback to an earlier season. Remember with the 2 little girls, they were sisters, and she said to the one little girl, look at the flowers. So I thought that actually gave me like chills to just throw it back to that intense moment right there. So that was definitely very interesting.
It's one of those names that Alpha brought up to her when she was like, look at all, I forget how she worded it, but like, look at all the skeletons in your closet, your son, Lizzie. And that's the flower. That was the girl who she told to look at the flowers.
Right.
Was it Lizzie?
Yeah.
Was it Mika? I know she named all of them. She named Lizzie.
Because didn't she name her daughter also?
Mika, Sophia. She named everybody.
Oh, she did, but because technically it's her fault. I think Mika was the younger one and Lizzie was the older one that was having the problems. If I'm wrong, then correct me, please. But she, technically they feel like Mika's death is on her as well because of where they were and how Carol handled things at the time. So, and Carol has always felt that way, that her death is because of her, even though her sister herself.
And I feel like with Carol, all of the deaths that Alpha mentioned, I think she feels that they were all of her fault in some way, somehow. And that's why she's having, these visions of Alpha, which is really sad, because we're still getting a glimpse of, season 1 Carol now. which
Mm.
at first I thought was pretty cool because, you know, we've seen her progress so much. So I thought it would be cool to just see what it would be like if she had to like go back to that person that she was. But now I want her to be, you know, the cool, you know, awesome woman that we've known to love from Carol. But let's start talking about one of my favorite guys of the show. April's like, oh my God.
I'm kidding.
All right, let's talk about Eugene's storyline. You know, I really felt for the guy when, you know, he's fessing up and he's telling everyone. One person that I was surprised with his reaction was the king. Were you guys surprised as well?
I didn't think, I mean, a little bit random. I really liked the end of Eugene's whole segment where, you know, they're going into the city and it brings you right back to season 1, episode 1 of Rick.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Did you guys think that was Atlanta for a split second? Because I was like, wait, is that Atlanta? Because it looks exactly like that scene, like you were saying.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I like appreciated them paying homage to that. But overall, I was like, they had to get to this chick somehow. So I guess Ezekiel would be the voice in this sense.
Right. What about you, Cedric?
I actually think it was very fitting for the king to stick up for Eugene, just because he was a leader of many and kind of like leading the blind to believe in this community that was perfect for so long. So he knows what hope is about and giving and having hope for a certain group of people. And that's what Eugene was really trying to stress with when he was being overwhelmed by everybody else in that room, is that he just has hope for other communities, other good people to bring in house. It was Ezekiel that stood up for him right there, because he resonates with what it means to give people in this time and age of the apocalypse hope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, complete. This is why he's number 1, you guys.
He's talking about Ezekiel.
We forgot about this, but Rosita, we see her. She's injured. That wasn't a bite mark I was looking at, right? That was just a bruise. Okay, because the girl looked pretty like rough and torn up. I thought, like, I was worried for her.
Because you remember she got into that fight with Beta.
Heartbreaking scene was when he's fighting the zombies
of King Ezekiel soon. We know he has cancer. I mean, we don't know, but from what they're telling us, he has cancer. You know, they pointed out in chat, Czar Nicholas did, that they're on their way to Charleston, West Virginia. Like, he chose to take that very long trek, but I also get why he did, because guess what? He's potentially on his deathbed. But it's definitely making me think that I'll miss his character more, because it's like him having to put his horse down was a knife to the heart. Like, that was awful. So I just wonder, like, what they're going to do with his story, or, you know, where to go from here for him.
Right.
Yeah, Ezekiel has some dope moments this episode. They really kind of tug at the heartstrings. You know, putting the horse down was very Will Smith, I Am Legend like, and it was very sad in that regard. But yeah, I agree with April. He's taking this long road because his time is literally running out as he goes. So why not see some of the countryside while he's doing it? I thought the scene where he's laughing hysterically at the walker giving another walker a ticket was beautiful as well, because it shows that he can at least smile through it all. But he's definitely a character I will miss if it's going to come to an end. If it's going to be that way, I hope they give him some more good moments like that, at least with him on this journey.
Yeah. Well, I don't think this is a spoiler, but spoiler alert, just in case this is. But I remember reading somewhere that he did announce that, or there were reports that he was leaving the series a couple months ago. So yeah, it's pointing that way, that he might be no more soon. Real quick, let's talk about the very end where we see this, where they're in the city, and then all of a sudden they see this very interesting girl. And it was so funny. Like, I'm seeing all the walkers like tied up to these to these different objects. And in my head, and I didn't think they were going to show this, but in my head, I'm like, oh, you know what? I can picture this really out of the ordinary, crazy type of person doing this.
Mhm.
And not thinking that The Walking Dead was actually going to show this type of person. And then out of nowhere, we see this girl, and she is exactly how I envisioned. I was like, wait, what is going on? What did you guys think about her?
I was so surprised, and I'm gonna call myself out. Whenever you see the two walkers, like the one that has a martini in its hand, it still hadn't computed in my mind that this was set up. I was like, that walker did not die with a martini in its hand. Like, that's ridiculous. The Walking Dead. And I was like, no, April, you're just that dumb. Okay.
No.
I thought once I figured it out, I, kind of thought the same thing as you. We're going to see a very like kitsch, different type of character. I do not know if this is a part of the comic books that maybe I'm unfamiliar with. I don't know if she is a character in the comics or if she isn't. I don't think it's Stephanie, the one that they're going after. But yeah, I was surprised that we saw the character at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere that her name is Princess.
Okay.
But yeah, you see all these different sketches, if you would, with walkers tied up and bondage thing and stuff. And at first, I thought that they were laid traps for the walkers to make noise if people approach. So I thought we were going to see a different group. But then you see this bubbly personality with this what looks like AK-47. So she's definitely strapped. But like just being so welcoming and happy to see human people. So it seems like she's a good person. So I'm kind of very interested to see where this goes.
I'll save that for predictions. I don't know about that one. But all right, so that was our recap. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to say about the episode?
Only one thing. Two people said it in chat. I believe it was Glow Love Jomo and Czar Nicholas, and one other person, Toes Girls, that Alpha was speaking to Carol in the way that her husband used to. There were a couple of specific references, like her OG husband. And we have to remember that this is hallucination. This is all from Carol's mind. But that a couple of things Alpha said was, she was speaking to her like a normal person, not in the way that Alpha did. So a lot of it came back from that.
That's true. That is very true. And I would kind of hear Alpha's accent go away at times. So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. All right, let's go to some news and gossip. So I want to talk about, and this is really sad news, the season finale of The Walking Dead is actually going to be cut short because of everything that's going on around the world. We're actually going to get the last episode on not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday, right, you guys?
I believe it's at April 5th.
April 5th, yeah, then April 5th then. So apparently they did shoot the finale, but they don't have they're not able to edit everything to get the whole finale. So the last episode we're getting is the 5th, unfortunately. Not sure what they're going to do with the finale that they shot, but this also ties in with the spinoff that was supposed to be airing soon. That's not going to be airing anytime soon anymore. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you watch the commercials that come on about it, they now say coming on later this year. So there's no specific date when the show will come on. I think it's because they still hadn't finished filming a lot of the episodes. So we'll just have to wait and see. But you know what? I'm glad hopefully they're able to tie it up, and it's a good finale. So we'll have to see.
They did say that what was meant to be the finale is going to air as a special episode later this year. There was no date given to it. But so what was meant to be the penultimate is now the finale, but they will air what was meant to be the finale. Okay,
well, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our special segment, favorite kill. April, who was your favorite kill?
Oh gosh, who was my favorite kill? It's got to be like the walker that King Ezekiel ended up killing and then kind of like passed out after,
Yeah.
because it was just very telling. Not that it was a good kill or a special kill. I know that's what we normally try to do, but it was just, I think, a big change for his character.
Cedric, what about you?
I'm torn between Beta and Negan. And I mean, Beta killing one of his Whisperer brethren, but I'm going to go shotgun Negan. I like the good bait and switch and then using the shotgun on the Whisperer. So that was my favorite one.
Yeah, I have to give it to Negan with that one. I knew Negan was going to do that. I wonder if Darryl knew Negan was going to do that. But yeah, I was like, there's no way.
Darryl said, like, you better kill me or something like that. So I think he was surprised when Negan turned it around.
That's very true. All right, let's get to our predictions for the next episode. What do you guys think is going to happen?
Oh, I don't think Carol and Darryl are gonna fully recover from this. Not because of Connie, not because of whatever, but I think this is like the straw that broke the camel's back. I think they will always have a special relationship. The Walking Dead is never going to take that away from us, but I think it's going to take them a long time because, like I said, this is not the first, second, third, fourth time. It's like the fifth, sixth, seventh time that Carol has done this. So I think it's going to take a bit because he genuinely seemed backstabbed this time.
Right. What about you, Cedric?
All right, I'm gonna go big here. So work with me here. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna start to see the genesis of the bromance between Darryl and Negan. So
I agree.
Whatever that looks like, whatever type of forgiveness that looks like, and I know we're gonna get an episode later this year, but I swear we're gonna start seeing the tea leaves of forgiveness from Darryl and see their friendship start to come to fruition, and it's going to probably happen in some type of battle at all or some sorts, but we're going to see them start becoming closer as friends.
I definitely agree with that one. I want to talk about the mysterious girl that we saw at the very end. I don't think she's going to be a good guy, so to speak. I think if you look at the walkers, they're tied up to these places. How does she get walkers tied up like that? It's not like what Michonne does, chopping off their hands, chopping off their arms. I feel like she would have had to have done this while they were still human. And they died while they were tied up to whatever they were tied up to. So I don't know. I don't think she's going to be a very good person, but we will have to wait and see, but that's all the time we have for today. I am your host, Benny Adams. You can find me on all social media at Benny J. Adams.
Y'all can find me everywhere at April Wissenhant.
And you can find me on Twitter at says and everywhere else at said is the answer.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.